setup of the game, right? The other team is in a block. Essentially, they got a low block, and they have 6 players that stay home. 2 holding, and they hold, right? And so a couple things you don't want to do when we're building out. You don't want to dribble at them, right? That's what they're sitting back here waiting for you to dribble at them. And you don't want to send the ball long, at least not too early, because they're sitting in, right? Now, so where are the numbers going to be? So the danger is also that they take up a lot of space, especially as they collapse, right? As they collapse, they take away space. So if you send the ball to them, the ball's coming back faster. If you dribble at them, the ball's coming back faster. There's not going to be any cover. So they're set up. They just want to take away the long ball and take away the dribble. And now this is a block in here, and it is narrow, right? So the question is now is what are we doing? Couple ideas. One is in build up, we're going to be fairly easily built up. You don't want, since they're narrow, you do want to build up wide. Now we're in a wide setup typically, right? But for our adjustment to play against them, we want to bring a player wide. Now, typically we would have numbers 2-on-1s and 3-on-1, 3-on-2s over here, right? So a couple things. If the press is coming from the side, either side, press coming from the side at an angle, the ball has to go vertical, right? So as soon as this player reads the press coming in sideways, they come, ball goes vertical, knocked out. If the ball's coming in vertical, or whoops, I got 2 balls there. The press coming in vertical, then this player goes out, this player goes out, right? And we're playing wide. Generally speaking, though, you want to build wide. And there really weren't any problems because there's this massive gap in the midfield, right? And even if you put players here, they weren't really going to step, right? So one of our problems is as we get in on top of their formation, and these guys were really slow at getting back, so you could almost play 2 games, one against their 4 and then one against their 6, right? As we get in here, we move the ball. We're too quick to dribble at them. This is zone 14 over here. If they steal the ball here, they're going to be able to score. It's going to be very hard to cover. Too quick to get the ball into zone 14 when they're sitting back. Too quick to dribble the ball into zone 14 when they're sitting back, right? So a couple things. One is we can play wide with numbers. We can play through them with numbers depending on the angle of the press. The thing is we can step on the ball, provoke the press, and make sure we have numbers, right? And just play through them. So you got 3 options. You got sort of vertical, direct, depending on the angle of the press. You got wide, building wide, right? Again, somewhat depending on the angle of the press. Or you can provoke, add numbers, and play through them, which is what's happening. Now, once you get through them, you can't keep progressing the ball at their sitting defense. The ball has to stop in progression. Just like it stopped here when you provoke the overload, the ball has got to be driven and then stopped. especially avoiding zone 14 if you can. Right? Now from here, you can overload. This player can drop in between the lines, not in this gap there, between the lines, right? So here you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. That's a 3, 1, 1. 3, 1, 1. The pattern goes here, support, support, through, right? Or the pattern goes here, through, flick, flick, right? All kinds of patterns can start happening with there. Or it goes here, get the ball back, here, get the ball back. As this guy runs through, flick it on, right? Those are the micro patterns, right? So if we're not setting up what's a macro solution, right? We're just trying to work the overload, that's fine. Ball's got to stop in progression, got to wait for the overload, attack narrow or attack with numerical or technical superiority, right? Don't want to isolate one-on-one, they're in a block. They're set up to do that. So we've got to do a timed run, right? So call a third man run. Ball goes here, he runs, he doesn't run. Ball goes here, he runs, he doesn't run, right? If the ball goes here, 2 third man runs to support the ball. Ball goes back, ball goes through, ball goes through. Those are third man runs, right? So a couple macro solutions that we weren't getting, right? So if they shift, right, then we're going to need to shift. And so this is called a reversal, this long square pass on the ground, boom. Now, if this guy's out here early, this ball can go in the air, there. If he's not, you have to dribble. And as you dribble, you're probably playing to feet. There, and then this guy goes there. But let's say you do the extra reverse square pass, well then you're probably playing behind with the pass, right? And then maybe even adding a guy there, right? This guy runs through, this guy gets the ball now, right? So those are sort of the micro solutions, right? Now, you got some macro solution options. Mind you, there's 4 guys back here, right? So it does limit you a little bit, but you could do a WM with Y players here, your 4 diamond players. Now to create space, they're taking up a lot of space. So to create space, your 4 players got to play close together. Let's see how that creates space, right? There's no space for you guys to spread out and play through them. So if you spread out and they spread out, there's no space for the ball carrier. And then on top of that, you guys are adding the fact that a lot of you guys are running off the ball at the wrong time. You're not stopping the ball. There's no third man run. So as soon as this player gets the ball in space and time, you're assuming he's going to dribble and then flick the ball forward. And so everyone starts running. Crazy. Right? So the micro solutions, stepping on the ball, waiting for the overload. We did all that. The reversal and the switch. Okay, fine. Macro solutions. WM. But you collapse 4 players on the ball. Now they got to make a decision. Right? Once they come, that opens up all kinds of options, right? It's called the inverted pyramid. 2, 3, 5. Right? 2, 3, 5. Got to have structure and width here. Got to be aware of who's on the ball and who's responsible for the ball. So it's a little more fluid, right? But you probably do that a little deeper to create this problem for them, right? Come off their top line. They're sitting in. come off the top line, give wide structure, right? Draw them out. 2, 3, 5. I got a report, but another solution might be the Chelsea. You don't want to play 2, 3, 5 like this, though. You don't want to play it like opened up. That puts you under a lot of pressure. Or 3, 2, 5 opened up, right? You don't want to do that, right? But so you could try this, the Chelsea sort of wheel. But I'm thinking, yeah, so like the 2, 3, 5 and the Chelsea wheel, right, are difficult to play just because that problem there in the middle, even though it does open up space, right? Your other option is stick with the 4-4-2, or no, do it this way. Yeah, it's sort of like a 4-4-2 diamond. This is how Paris Saint-Germain does it. These guys come in close like that WM, right? And then these guys go wide, boom. And see how that creates all kinds of space. These guys come in close. And you can modify it. You can have maybe these 3 guys push up, not quite in the back line, but you see how that creates space for him, right? So you sort of do the opposite. If they're man-to-man, then you spread out. If they're in a zone, then you contract space, right? And that always optimizes this passing lanes and space to play in. So I misspoke. I think the 2-3-5 or 4-4-2 could work if you went behind. That might work like that. It's more difficult still because you're creating this problem, right? But if you were really, really big and went behind and then dropped in and showed off the shoulder, that could work too, right? Much more technical to pull off. So it's a Chelsea. So then the other one is and this is probably also more suited to us, the Barcelona pyramid. You create space by inverting everyone. And you honestly have that big space in the middle. Now you outnumber them everywhere. At every position that's relevant, you make these guys irrelevant, this guy irrelevant, this guy irrelevant, and this guy irrelevant. And basically you play 10 against 6 down the middle. Right? And all that is it's a 4-4-2 diamond, right? Or, yeah, 4-4-2 diamond. It's just that. But then you just drop this guy and then spread out a little bit and step that guy up, right? And the shape is kind of like a very small pyramid, right? That's going to give him problems as well. The other one, I say the last one, is, especially if they have press triggers, you just double up your own guys. And you see how that creates space. And so the ball's always secure. So if you go here, you send one that way, right? And then you can quickly send one here, right? And then you go there and you send one that way, right? So like there's always be a counter movement, right? A post movement, dropping in between the lines. And then when the ladder or staircase materializes, right? Here, flick it on. So those are some solutions, right? Obviously we're early in the season, so Dave will probably be getting back with you with what he wants to do. But if we're in a 4-4-2 diamond, what we're going to tell you at halftime, especially if we're playing narrow and they're sitting in narrow, is there going to have to be some adjustments and some thinking about where the space is and what to do, right? So 4-4-2 diamond is more a suggestion of the style of play that we want to do, right? We want to be balanced. We want to be narrow. We want to be direct when necessary, right? But then when we come across a opponent that's in a counterattacking formation and sitting in, right? Well, what are we doing, right? And we've got to have some solutions ready. All right, guys. Thank you.